Right, so episode 9 or 10, I can't remember. Anyway, I don't think the guy needs much welcoming. You can clearly see him. I'll let him introduce himself, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, Hunter Labrada here. Looking forward to getting in depth into some questions that I find very interesting and some topics that I actually enjoy talking about. Typical departure from our typical post-show interviews of what was it like, how was it like with your dad, da, 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 da. So I'm excited about this. Looking forward to talking.
So since Chicago, what you've been up to?
Since Chicago, I have gotten home, got a lot of aggressive body work done the first 2 days I was back, did some cardio to get my blood moving. And then Wednesday of last week was my first 100% back training session. And then yesterday was my leg day, which is the end of the training cycle. So I had my first 100% back to the gym training cycle, and I took that as an opportunity to establish new numbers on all of my tracked lifts, switch some exercises in and out that I wanted to put back in. And, like I said, just really establish my numbers and, getting ready to just push and progress those lifts, all the way up till, two weeks out, like we did last time, 2 weeks out, 1 week out, like 10 days even. So looking forward to, getting the ball going on progressing the numbers again, because that's what I find enjoyable about bodybuilding is what happens in the gym. So
exactly, yeah. Without that part, you probably wouldn't even do it. Right. So today we're going to talk through programming and how you adjust the stimulus based on each session and anything prep based on your needs. So we're going to start with, which is fundamentally what you'd probably go for within a prep phase, is your output. So how do you approach cardio, output, and meet within your prep?
Okay, so for myself, I am a very, very, very sedentary person outside of activity that I actually choose to do. Meaning, if I'm not doing cardio or training, chances are I'm pretty, sedentary. I'm sitting, I'm watching TV, I'm doing work. I might be walking around a little bit, going to the mall. Average in the off season, when I'd say I get about 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day. So not a lot, not a lot at all. So in prep, any kind of activity that I intentionally add in is a big bump in activity for me. So my thought process for my body, whenever I am, considering my energy expenditure, is not necessarily how much energy I expend at one time, but how much I can break up that energy expenditure. Because I actually have, not a high resting heart rate, but my heart rate gets up very quickly, very easily when I do my cardio. So if I'm doing 20 minutes of cardio, by 2 minutes in, I'm at 140 beats per minute. And I can really, seriously. So I can ride that for, 20 minutes. And so for me, I don't have a problem getting lean. All of my issues lie in the off season. Off season is much harder than contest prep for me. Just being blunt, it's much more miserable. It's much more just everything. I'm literally pregnant all day from how much food I'm eating. I'm super lethargic from how full I am all day. Training's uncomfortable because of how heavy I am. The joint spaces are very limited, especially my shoulders. So, prep is I'm not going to say easy, but it's not as hard as the off season for me. Yeah. And I know that's in a contrast to a lot of other people, but those other people aren't the people that are miserable all off season. They're the ones that can grow relatively easily. So that's why I'm so lean in the off season. People always think it's because I'm a psychopath about things. It's not. I have a really, really, really fast metabolism, and it's, like most things in bodybuilding, a double-edged sword. It makes it easy to get in shape. It makes it hard to grow. So going back to the energy expenditure on prep. So my thought process behind it is I want to have as many different periods of energy expenditure as possible. So for me, if I'm going to do 40 minutes of cardio a day, I'm going to do 20 minutes fasted in the morning. I'm going to have my training session around noon or 1. And then I'm going to go back to the gym at a fasted state before I eat meal 5 and bang out another 20 minutes around 9 o'clock at night. So I have 3, big bumps in my heart rate and then post-exercise oxygen consumption. So that, in my mind, is much better than me just banging out 40 minutes first thing in the morning. for someone who doesn't have the same, parameters going as I do, if they get on and, it takes them 10 minutes to get their heart rate up, they might be better off doing their cardio all in one block in the morning. But for myself, like I said, the rate I can get my heart rate up, I feel like it benefits me much more from a fat burning standpoint and a tissue preservation point to just increase the amount of periods of expenditure as opposed to the duration.
First time I've actually kind of heard that sort of thought process, but that's quite, yeah, I like that a lot. With that, like, obviously, how you'll space your day out. So is it kind of like wake up, fasted cardio, X amount of delay, meal one, and then workload, train, workload, cardio, so on?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You're like, we all know you're obviously married to the sport, but in that sense, this is your full-time job. So you see a lot of athletes as such. Some of them express that they're living the high life and what's the word? There's balance, but pretty much what you just said, prep. There's no balance. It's literally, this is my day. This is the vision. Bam.
Well, yeah, yes, but in the same breath, in the morning, I'll get up at 7. I'll be at the gym by 8, and I'll be home and eating breakfast by, 9:15. And then I have a gap from, 9:15 until I get to the gym at, 12 to eat. And, I don't have enough of a workload to where I'm constantly having to do work in my spare time. I do have time, just relax. I do have time to nap before I train. I do have a 6-year-old daughter, so I do have time, go get her and do fun things, so I do have. Yeah, I do have time during my day to have balance, even in prep. I would say the only time that I really have a hard time finding balance is probably the last month. And, it's a combo of the energy level, dipping to the point where I'm kind of like the Walking Dead. And then, I handle it very well, but, no matter what anyone says, you get close to a contest, there is pressure from the contest. I thrive on that pressure, but it still does, make me, a little distant, and I'm a little checked out because I'm not always, present. I'm thinking about the larger goal at hand,
Do you find, through those kind of times, like, do you find, because you've got what's your coaching thing called again? The
standard training system.
Of course it was, yeah. So do you find that, like, through that time, do you have a relatively high communication process with your client base and stuff?
Yeah, we do. And when I say we, it's because it's definitely a partnership with my training partner, Bryan.
Yeah.
It's definitely an ebb and flow thing. Me having been on contest prep for the last 20 weeks, he had been handling a lot of the client workload, transitioning, I'm starting to help more and more as he gets closer to his shows. So it's definitely a give and take team effort. That's why it's the standard training systems and not Hunter Labrada coaching. That's why, even in the logo, you can see it's like that TS2. There's 2 people doing it. So it definitely is a team, and, we definitely do share in the workload, and Bryan definitely, does a lion's share of the actual coaching. And, I say that whenever we're together, we'll always be talking about the clients because we obviously both get all the check-ins, both get all the emails, and we'll bounce ideas back and forth. But, he does a lion's share of the communicating with the clients. So I have to give credit where credit's due.
That's cool. Do you, how many rough clients do you have amongst the 2 of you?
Amongst the 2 of us, if I had to just throw a number out there, not wanting to give an exact one, I would tell you between 40 and 60.
That's kind of what I want to hear, because I imagine with prep and everything, trying to manage yours and then Bryan's, it's like if you took on more, it'd be ridiculous.
And a lot of those people are contest prep athletes. We do have lifestyle people. We work with driven individuals. I don't care what walk of life you come from. It's just we work with people that want to work. It's not enjoyable for us to work with people that we have to chase shit down for and stuff. So that being said, largely we draw competitors because that's what we're good at.
Exactly that. And you don't want to be spoon feeding people whilst you're in prep, essentially.
Exactly.
Right. Post-show considerations for both training and nutrition.
Okay, so I'm going to answer these questions from two angles, both of them. I'm going to answer it from what I do particularly for myself, having done it enough times to know how my body responds to it. And then I'll give some overarching tips for people, you know, coming out of shows, because what I do is not what a lot of people should do. Myself personally, coming out of a show, if I compete on Saturday, or, you know, I want at least 3, probably 4 days before I am in the gym having a 100% training session. You know, in the days before that, it's just an inevitability. I will be in the gym, you know, whether it be for photo shoots or just because I can't keep myself out of it. And, you know, I'll very lightly move blood around. But to be honest, for 2 days after a show, I feel like I got hit by a car, especially after Chicago. I think we posed like 12 rounds at Chicago. So, yeah, they worked us, man. It was a good show. But, you know, so as soon as my body feels ready to go, and, you know, I'm very in tune with my body. I feel like most of people that, you know, that bodybuild are, but I'm extremely, you know, in tune with it. And I really do have a good handle on when it's ready to go. So I've found that, you know, that 3 to 4 day mark, I am rehydrated. I'm no longer, you know, like sore, tight in weird places from posing. I've had a chance to really eat for 3 or 4 days and really fill back out. So at that point, I feel safe getting back in the gym and not trying to set any PRs, but, you know, reestablishing numbers, taking sets to true failure, and, you know, just being smart about things. That's what I do training wise. And, you know, I'll do that. I'll establish that first training cycle, and I'll be completely honest with you. When I walk in the gym Wednesday, it's blood in the water. I'm 9 weeks out from the Olympia. It's, you know, it's back to business like it absolutely should be and has to be. But so that's the training considerations for post show. Even if I wasn't having to get ready for the Olympia, it'd be the same thing. It'd be 4 days out, then back in, just because it's what I love to do. And the rebound phase for me is a phase that I get so much out of. Going to the nutrition side of things, coming out of a show, if I'm being honest with you, I will eat anything and everything that's not nailed down to the floor for 3 weeks after a show. This one included. Even though I'm getting ready for the O, just because I know how my body responds. I'm not like a total asshole about it, but, you know, if I had to put a number on it, my rule is at least 50 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs per meal for 6 meals. And anything past that is fine. And the benefit of me, you know, working, you know, with Bryan to get myself ready for the shows at this point is we train together every day. He sees me every day, and he is not one to sugarcoat things or blow smoke up my ass. And I'm not one to get offended by him saying, you know, it's time to reel it in. So when we have it like that, you know, it's very simple. You know, I'm going to eat until it's time to reel it in, because I do rebound very well. I will pick up some good lean tissue in these next 2 to 3 weeks before we start, you know, working back towards more of a baseline or getting into even a deficit as we get ready for the Olympia. So that's what I do. What I will have people do who have not competed before or who I have not coached before, I will have them do the same thing. I don't like them in the gym really doing anything for 2 to 3 days. When they get back in the gym, I always want them to train, you know, like 1 or 2 reps in reserve. I don't want them going anywhere near failure. I don't know how their bodies respond to the show, you know, like what you deal with around the show when it comes to, you know, like the dehydration, the tendon brittleness, just the general levels of fatigue you experience on prep. Everyone's different and how long it takes their body to kind of get out of that hole. So I'll have them train at, you know, like a 1 to 2 reps in reserve, you know, style for 1 to 2 training cycles. And, you know, people that I've worked with before have a better handle on, you know, how they should feel. Nutrition wise, I always tell people if they haven't done it before to not waste their rebound, but in the same breath, don't set themselves up to get fat in the off season. You know, so I always aim to, you know, if you had your baseline diet when you're like 2 weeks out, I always like to add, you know, like 25 to 30% carbs over that or calories over that. And work from there. And, you know, I don't like to see any huge weight gains, but I do like to see consistent weight gain for the first 3 weeks.
That'd be around like a 1 or 2 pound per week sort of.
Yeah, something like that. And, you know, you got to take into account you're going to have a rebound. Everyone rebounds differently. You know, some people are rebound 10 or 12 pounds just off that one meal they go eat after the show. Myself, if I'm being like completely blunt with you, I've never woken up the day after a show heavier than the day of the show, despite going and eating my heart out. Yeah, I'm that closed down when I compete. So, Yeah, so everyone's different, but as soon as you get that initial bloat off, and I'm going to be really blunt when I say this, that bloat should be off within 5 days of the show. Yeah. You shouldn't be gaining more than 1 to 2 pounds a week, in my opinion.
Yes. Would you, with all that, if we went into like drug considerations here, would you drop to like a physiological cruise range post show, or would you kind of maximize that going into a rebound?
So going into that rebound, what I would always tell clients to do and what I preach is to maintain as stable of hormone levels as possible. I hate, I feel like everything that people have bad to say about contest prep is not necessarily from the compounds used so much as the fact that their hormones are like this. Yeah. The better you can maintain blood levels and the better you can maintain your health markers, the better you're going to feel after the show. So, to be blunt, if you were competing, you should have dropped most of your supplements, like 7 to 10 days before the show. So most of everything should have cleared your system, save for testosterone, if you were on a long list of testosterone. If you weren't, everything's pretty much cleared your system by the time you've competed. At that point, I do always tell people to, start running a physiological level of HRT. And, I'm not a doctor, so I will tell them, go see your doctor. I don't, preach, self-medicating at all. But I do preach getting back to a stable hormonal level as quickly as possible. That's what I am big on, is reaching that level of homeostasis as quickly as possible after a show. I'm not big on pushing stuff after a show to maximize a rebound. Your body's in a very hammered state, both skeletal muscle wise, your internals probably aren't that great. Your health markers should be at an all-time low post-contest, to put it bluntly. Yeah. So at that point, after a show, post-show, my considerations immediately shift to maximizing health and returning to baseline health marker values as quickly as possible.
That's spot on. I think with that be like for what I usually get a client to do is, at that point, would be to get blood work done. Let's evaluate everything, and then kind of see what we can do.
Yeah.
Right. Now, coming off the back of all of that, we touched on it before we hit the record button. Within contest prep, do you get a lot of like mobility work done, or do you kind of reduce that down due to inflammation effects, etc.?
Yeah. So I know there's a couple camps on this. I personally could not do what I do without seeing my body work guy twice a week. Mm-hmm. I've got a surgically repaired shoulder, and my lagging body part are my lats. So, between training back very hard twice a week, obviously your lat inserts on your humerus. So my arm's constantly in a state of getting pulled down, and then having that surgically repaired shoulder, I have to stay on top of my mobility in my upper half. Otherwise, things get really wonky and really painful but quickly, especially in the post-show setting when I am right now. Like when I'm putting on weight relatively quickly, I have to stay on top of it. As far as, like the inflammation goes from getting work done, I completely agree. It is a very real thing. That being said, it's not something that you need to consider more than 10 days before the show. And, leading into a show, I will get body work done all the way up till 3 days before the show, just because I trust the people that I work with, and they've worked with so many athletes, including myself, for so long that they know how much pressure they can apply to bring out separation versus cause trauma and cause fluid and cause, a negative reaction. So I'm a big proponent of body work. I would fall apart without it, in my opinion. I have tried, for extended periods of time, getting none done just to see, if it was something that my body could adapt to. And, at the end of, I think it was probably 10 weeks, I felt so bad it was hard to train. So take that for what you will. That's my personal experience with body work. I'm a huge proponent of it. That being said, there are a lot of really bad therapists out there. So, it comes down to, finding one, that works well for you, because someone might work well for someone, but not for the other. The modalities of body work definitely are different. And there's so many that exist for a reason, it's not one size fits all thing. So I'm a big believer in it, but I'm a big believer in good body work, or good tissue work, if you will.
With you saying about 3 days pre-show, What's your kind of like, let's say on a ratio of 1 to 10, 10 being most painful, 1 being like, and just rubbing you up. Where do you have that lie? Is it as strenuous as what it would be at 10 weeks out, or do you kind of have them put less pressure?
I am 100% pressure all the way to 10 days out.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That third one is like just still pressure, but not as much as it is at 10 days.
Yeah.
So we're going to rewind now. So we touched on approaches to cardio output and meet in prep and your considerations there. Now, programming, the fun stuff. This is what I'm most excited about. And that's essentially why we train, why we got into the gym, why we got into this. I remember watching, it was a Labrada series about 6 years ago, and you'll probably remember this. It was your dad kind of filming, and you did like a YouTube series, like almost like an exercise library.
Yeah.
He was training arms, and I always remember like you did one where it was like underarm grip tricep thing, and then you did overhand. It was all these for thingy. So where's your like, because I watch a lot of your training videos and I take a lot from it. Like me and I think I remember when I sent you a picture of my setup in my garden.
Yeah.
Squat rack and stuff, and we did like banded deadlifts because you started doing banded deadlifts, and then we did them at Cal's garage, Callum Rainstraight. He kind of made us set up at his, and then a lot of like your considerations we almost put into our own program. And Cal's like he's a massive coach over here, and some of the methods I saw within his training, I'd be watching you and I'd be like, oh, that's where Callum got it from, is it? So where does your mind lie within programming? Do you have like a base volume of your level at the beginning of prep, and then will you go into like a reduced volume as you fatigue starts picking up? Or
so for me, even in the peak off season, I think my volume is about as low as it could ever possibly be.
Oh, okay.
Because to be honest with you, the exercise, I ran the same split the entire off season all the way to 4 days before the show.
Wow.
Cool. I trained my split all the way till 4 days before the show.
What is your split for anyone listening?
For anyone listening, so Wednesday is push, but it's the press day. So we'll do a flat press, an incline press, a shoulder press, weighted dips, and then one tricep movement. The following day, Thursday, is the back and hamstring day. We'll do straight arms and then one arm Nautilus pull downs. Then we'll deadlift from the floor, and then we'll do seated hamstring curls and lying hamstring curls. Following day is a day off. Saturday is our isolation push day, if you will. So you're not actually pushing anything. You're using the push muscles, but we'll do roller flies, cuff laterals, prime pec deck, prime lateral, and then 2 tricep movements. And then the following day, Sunday, is the back day, like the isolation back day, no spinal loading. We'll do straight arms, one arm Nautilus pull downs, prime lat focus seated row, the Arsenal T-bar row, prime rear delt, and then biceps on the strive curl. And then Monday is quad day, and we'll do calves standing and seated. We'll do abductor, adductor, and then we'll alternate between hack squat and then a free weight squat. Right now we're doing cambered spider bar squats with an elevated heel. And then from there, we'll go to the Rogers pendulum press and do 1 working set. And then we finish up with the prime leg extension. That's the current split. You can find it on one of my YouTubes, the one where it's actually in the title, like going over the new split. I'll go over it in detail on a whiteboard, and it's actually in the comment of the video, like detailed out, like I just said. So for anyone listening, that's where you can find what I just incessantly babbled about for 2 minutes.
I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, perfect. So people will be able to see it and not just have to listen. But yeah, so that's the split that I train on.
You know the spider bar. That's horrendous.
Yeah, it's a mean son of a bitch.
It's like
it makes you come real correct. You don't stay perfectly braced with that thing. It starts swinging.
No, it's swaying. It's like when we used it, the squat rack we had. It's so like, you know, when you've failed and you're like, oh, you're trying to rack it in. You're like,
oh yeah.
No, So would you like, so your off season is where your volume's the lowest, did you say?
No, so yeah, no, I was gonna say my volume stays the same the whole time.
Oh, okay. So there's no
So
to it.
it'll stay the same the whole time until probably the very, very last like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That being said, in the off season, obviously I'm a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And, as prep goes on, we'll get a little weaker. But, this prep, we consistently push the numbers the whole time, even up until about 2 weeks out. So, yeah. So the volume for me, I'm of the camp that I want to do the bare minimum possible to achieve the stimulus needed to make a muscle grow. That should be your goal. As funny and as back-asswards as that sounds, I am trying to, in as few sets as possible, cause enough damage to my muscle to make it grow, but no more than that.
What's your like average rep ranges by doing that? Like for anyone?
So average rep ranges, I would say right now we're probably 9 to 12. As funny as that sounds, but I'm really aiming to fail at that 9th and 10th rep. And I'm really, at this point pretty dialed in because I train on the same equipment week in and week out. I'm really able to hit that 9 or 10 mark quite a bit. So that's my rep range right now. We'll go a little higher maybe for like the back off sets on like arms and leg extensions and other isolation exercises. But as far as, like the meat and potatoes compounds, it's always, that 9 to 12 mark.
So nothing below 9 ever.
No, never. At this point, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I've gotten strong enough. I take that back. We will deadlift under 9s. We'll deadlift. We'll deadlift 6 to 8s. We'll deadlift 6 to 8s. But at this point, for pretty much everything, the juice isn't worth the squeeze with me trying to go under 9 reps. Just because I've gotten strong enough to where it's sometimes shit just breaks, and I want to minimize the chance of it breaking.
There's no mobility work that's going to fix that.
No.
Talking of deadlifts, is it true that Liv can deadlift more than Guy, Sister Nina?
Man, I don't know. It depends on what time of the year you're catching them in.
What's their current heaviest?
Oh yeah, I'm just messing around. Guy can probably pull more than her. I know Liv's pulled 405 before. So if she trained for it, she could probably put a pretty impressive powerlifting total up.
Wow.
Yeah, you've seen I don't know if you've seen like some of her hack squat videos and stuff, but she
hacks are ridiculous.
Yeah, she's stronger than most guys on a lot of lifts.
I reckon if I ever walked into a gym and there was female stronger than me, I think I would give my membership up. As much as I'd like
don't come train at Labrada
then. I've just hired Luke Miller to coach me.
That's awesome. Luke's a good guy.
And I was talking, and I was talking to my brother, and I was like, right, I need to get over to Texas to train at Destination. And then I was going to kind of key it into like a road trip, and then, I better stay away from Labrada now.
No, man, you end up in Texas. You better end up here. You're more than welcome.
How far is it off from then?
3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Is that a drive or
flight or? It's a drive, yeah, 3.5 hour drive. I think the flight's like an hour and 15 minutes, but it's one of those things by the time you get to the airport, park, go through security, it's like half a dozen of one, 6 of the other.
You may as well do that. Also, while we're touching on it, when will Bryan be shaving his beard off before?
Never. Bryan will never shave his beard off.
Will he be going on stage with it?
Oh, yeah.
Is he competed before with it on?
Yeah, he's always competed with the beard since I've known him.
That's pretty sick.
That's a lie. He shaved it off at Nationals, and we told him he could never do it again.
Now, going into your other half, what is she? Does she coach also?
Yeah, she coaches much more than I do. She's a full-time coach. And
what's
quite the wait list right now too. It's funny.
That's hilarious. What's her kind of niche kind of audience? Is it female physique? Is it bikini?
No, she coaches absolutely everything. Right now she's got a couple girls that are a couple weeks out from bikini shows. She's got a couple wellness girls. She's got a bikini pro. She just prepped a master's bench press specialist that set a world record for his age.
Amazing.
She helps lifestyle people, guys, girls. She really does it all. The only thing she really requires is passion and the ability to follow the plan.
So just like yours, just like your what you
yeah. She just both of us get a lot of fulfillment out of helping people reach their goals, and just like the messages that she gets from her clients, like it's so cool to see. So it's really rewarding for her to do. She loves it, and I love seeing it. So
the t-shirt, keep drawing my attention to it. Are you anything in the pipeline with Joe?
So it's funny. I'm actually staring at the alert on my phone right now. He was the one that called me during our phone call. I actually have 812 Win the Day shirts being printed right now. They're all going to be going up on the website by the end of the week.
On your website? Are they? Are you going to be doing like world shipping?
For you, I will get you some, my man. For everyone else, no. So feel special. They're just domestic.
I'll order a few because me and Cal's been talking about.
Do me a favor and don't order them. We'll just settle it up through like DM or something because I don't have international shipping set up.
Okay, yeah.
But I'll take care of you, man. I got you.
Awesome. Because there was a Gasp of kind of design one, haven't we? Or I've seen you in like a Gasp one.
Yeah. We did a run of those. We're about to be doing another run of those very shortly. And we're actually going to be releasing a signature short and a signature wrist strap as well in the Win the Day black and red color line. So it's going to be a pretty cool set when it's all coming out.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, it made my day. Would your other half, because I coach a few female athletes, and I think pretty much there's not enough out there from like, let's say, a female dominated podcast. Do you think she'd be interested in coming on and talking about potentially the menstrual cycle around her training or something kind of that she's passionate about within that?
I could definitely ask her for you.
Just ask her again if she's actually just told me how busy she is. If she's too busy thinking of her next hack squat or deadlift, then that's it. That's cool. But right, Hunter, where can everyone find you? Have you spaces available for coaching? And what's the let's touch on this first. What's the plan between now and the Olympia?
Plan between now and the Olympia, we were 10 weeks out as of this past Saturday. I foresee myself, like I said, eating everything that's not nailed to the floor until about 7 weeks out. The plan is to push my body weight up, 10 to 15 pounds over stage weight from what we were at in Chicago. And then, just peel it down from there. We have to put some level of body fat on it. If we start off, just too lean, we're going to end up dieting a bunch of tissue off instead of, staying full and, having a little bit of fat to diet off and, really coasting in like we like to do for the shows.
Did you get any feedback off the judges or did you not bother because you won the show?
No, I always get feedback from the judges and it's always the same. Have a bigger back and come drier. I can't argue with that feedback, man. That is at the end of the day what I need to do to be the best. So, I feel like every show I do, I get a little closer with both of those. You'd have to be blind to say I didn't add a bunch of tissue to my back.
Yeah.
And then, I feel like I improved my condition from the Olympia. I feel like I improved my condition from Tampa. And in the same breath, I'll say it's not where it needs to be for me to be truly competitive at the Olympia yet. So definitely looking forward to having another crack at it and really, hitting the mark at the Olympia.
It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good weekend out for you.
Yeah.
What's have you kind of put in any strategic plans or like took any data from the Chicago Pro of how you could potentially come in drier?
Yeah, I do. I'll be honest with you. I feel like I did things pretty darn well, all the way up until, the last 2 days. And I feel like, and I'm not wanting to do anything drastic, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I made a mistake. I ate like 8 diazine. I won't do that next time. That's not me. Like the whole weekend, I think we used like half a diazine.
Was that like the night before?
Yeah, we did a quarter 3 times.
Yeah, okay.
So it wasn't like a diuretics issue. I just feel we did come away with some data, and I feel like we came away with, some ideas about how to improve it a little bit for sure.
Spot on. Will you be, what did you, like, your carb up the day before? Did you go, like, what was your average carb intake, or did you kind of, like, drip it in?
So me, I always look best probably like the day after I eat. So we ate pretty heavily on Thursday and then peeled back to baseline on Friday. Woke up Saturday morning a little flatter than we wanted to. So we definitely ate a little bit before prejudging. So that might have been why we had a little bit of water on me, but, headed into finals, definitely feel like we needed to fill out a little bit. We actually, this is the first time I've ever done this. I'm normally not one to do this, but, had a single burger from Five Guys with a large fry in between prejudging and finals. And it tightened me up tremendously and, put the fluid in the right places. And, I came significantly tighter for finals, in my opinion, and then a lot fuller. So that was one of the bits of data that we took away, that my body does. At this point, we know it handles, dirty food pretty well. So I'm not going to say I'm going to sit here and carb up on burgers and pizza and cookies for the Olympia, but I am going to say there might be a strategic burger and fry before prejudging and finals this time for sure.
Have you located a Five Guys local to the venue?
Oh yeah, there's one in Orlando for sure.
There you go. Well, Hunter, it's been amazing, mate. I'll let you get in touch with Joe and sort out whatever's what. I have messaged Joe actually. Probably shouldn't say this on thingy, but so just tell him what you've just been doing and tell him to check his messages.
Okay.
I'll plug. But thank you very much for your time, mate. And I'd love to potentially get one on again in the future and possibly, I don't know, go over your approach with a particular client, maybe like see how you go through your coaching process. Like a client, like see if there's a particular client that wouldn't mind you discussing what you've done to get him from A to B. I think that'd be really
yeah, it'd be cool. Maybe we could do that with me and Bryan, so we could both talk to you.
That'd be sick. Yeah, get you both on.
Yeah. Let's do that. We'll do it both of us.
Organize that.
Free talk.
What's because you says that from you're going to be pretty much tunnel vision from 7 weeks out. Would it be best to try and do that before that 7 week out?
Yeah. So Bryan competes not this weekend, but the following weekend. So let's do it after that. Let's do it the week after that sometime. And I'll talk with Bryan. Yeah, we'll get a date set.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be sick. Well, have a great evening, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
That sounds like a plan, man. Thank you for having me on. It was fun.
Where can they find you? Obviously, your Instagram, but where?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle, guys, is just Hunter Labrada, all lowercase, no special characters or spaces or anything. And then on YouTube, all of my content is on Labrada Nutrition's YouTube channel. So all the prep series and the informational content and those instructional videos he was talking about, you can find all that on the Labrada Nutrition YouTube.
Have they still got the old ones on there?
Man, we got it all there still. Yeah.
That's
cool. You want to see what I looked like 50 pounds ago? Go to the Labrada Nutrition YouTube.
You had more hair then as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
But right, you didn't also mention the standard training system. There's an Instagram?
Yeah, so the standard training systems is Bryan and I's coaching company. We are on Instagram with that handle, the standard training systems. If you have any interest in coaching, please do not DM me personally. Please do not DM him personally. You will not get responses. Please send us an email to the email on the standard training systems page. That email is thestandardtrainingsystems@gmail.com for those of y'all listening that just want to communicate directly. But that is the email that if you go to the Instagram and click email that it'll send you to. So please, if you have interest in coaching and you're actually serious, communicate with us via email.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Hunter.
Awesome, man.